Yesterday's video was admittedly a little bit negative, and it's a shame that it went up before this video, but it was already recorded and this one wasn't. I wanted to have something go up on Monday. But anyway, YCS Atlanta, outside of that one little tiny structure deck tournament that no one really cares about, outside of that exact situation, overall Atlanta was so much fun and I think surprised me in many good ways. You see, Konami has had issues in the past with events. This isn't really a secret. I've talked about many times in the past where they've sort of messed something up or another, and even specifically I've talked about how they don't really understand 3v3s, and there was a really big issue at the last WCQ with the 3v3 tournament. But for YCS Atlanta, I mean, they pulled out all the stops. There was an awesome stream. The event was really fast. It didn't really have as many hiccups as a lot of people expected. The 3v3 aspect, I mean, oh my god, it was so much fun. It was intense, it was exciting, it was fun. It was like playing every round where you, I mean, you know, when you like go to a regional and hopefully you don't play against your friend, but when you sit right next to your friend just by sheer random chance, it's really exciting. You get to sort of cheer them on and they cheer you on. Obviously you can't discuss strategy like you could at this YCS, but it's just a really cool experience, and that's something that every single round at Atlanta was like. You got to play next to your best friends and you sort of helped each other out. It was almost like play testing, but it was more intense because there was more pressure on you because you didn't want to let your team down. It was just so good. Like, kudos to Konami for making a fantastic example of how a team YCS should be ran. I did not expect it to be this well sort of figured out by the very first time that they did this, and yet they surprised me. So awesome job to Konami for doing that. And in today's video, I want to talk about many of the things that I picked up. I got some product at the, not all just like packs and stuff, mostly not packs, but I got some product not only for the channel to review later on, which we'll talk about, but also some stuff from you guys, the fans. Then also I want to talk about the experience, what happened at YCS Atlanta. I'm not going to do my deck profile in today's video, a little bit smarter than that. In the past, I always assume I'm going to do the deck profile after recording these, but then it's already like 30 minutes long, so don't worry, I'll do that. I'm not going to make any false promises, but later on this week, you'll see my deck profile. There's still ARG Chicago, ARG Circuit Series Chicago this weekend, so that'll be exciting as well. But first off, stuff that I got from fans. So there was lots of cool stuff. You guys always give me things at events, and I don't really ask for it. I don't expect it. You don't have to give me anything, but it's always very exciting. I got a couple really cool things. So first off, I got this cool Stardust Dragon. You guys can see there. This is an Italian secret rare from the tin, and it's signed by Greg Abbey, who played Yusei, or who voiced Yusei. Very cool item. You know, I don't really stand in the lines for voice actors. They're always really long, and I'm sort of usually playing inside events, but that's pretty cool. Stardust Dragon is a very cool synchro monster. I've praised it many times over, and thank you to the fan that gave me that. And then also, this is a very surprising item, and I didn't really know what to expect when I got this because it was in like a box and said just open it. And this is a wooden frame thing, and it's like a print of a picture that they made, and it's on here. But this is hilarious. So it says this is not this is not a pack opening channel. It has me on there. It has some packs. I got this feel on my shirt. It's like a little Funko Pop version of me. This is awesome, guys. This is like so far beyond what I would ever expect from a fan. Like, it's crazy how much you guys care. What is cool, and what I've kind of been doing, like with this Boo and this little balloon animal dog, I've got some stuff ready for a shelf whenever I get like a shelf. I mean, this is sort of like an insight behind Dzeeff where the channel is going, but at one point or somewhere in the future, I will have a shelf of stuff behind me, very similar to some other people you've seen. Other streamers have stuff from fans in the background. I have all sorts of stuff that I want to put there. I have like a bunch of Spheals. I got a bunch of Walrus stuff. I got those things. Got stuff from you guys. All this, I've been saving all the stuff that fans have given me. I've gotten so many different cards and artworks and stuff. I've been saving all of that so that when I get a shelf behind me, I can actually display all that and you can see it in all of these face cam videos. So thank you guys so much for just giving me stuff. I don't ask for it. I don't expect it. It's just, I'm truly humbled by the fact that you guys think it's worth going out of your way to give me something that you made or something that you found. It's just really cool, and I couldn't be more appreciative. Another product that I actually picked up, and something that I've been looking for the past couple weeks, but haven't found them. I know that they had like shipping delays, and I couldn't really find them at any Walmarts or Targets. They created all these like Yu-Gi-Oh 20th anniversary stuff, and I'm actually going to do a full video reviewing these products. I unfortunately do not have the binder, but I do have this deck box, and it's kind of hard to see on camera, but it's actually like holographic, which is really cool. Then there's sleeves that were really cool, also holographic, and then also there's this mat here as well. So like I said, I don't have the binder, which is a pretty important aspect, but no vendor had the binder, which is really sad. bad, but I do have like every other product. I'm gonna do a full like video reviewing all those things, but it's really cool. And actually I was pleasantly surprised with how interesting and how accurate these boxes were. As you can maybe see, there's just a bunch of cards all over this, so you can kind of see the glossiness there, but it's kind of tricky. I'll show it in the actual review video. But there's cards on here, and they're not just nostalgic cards. Actually, mostly they're just competitive cards, and that's really unique because a lot of times Konami doesn't like to really sort of even acknowledge like the competitive side of Yu-Gi-Oh! When we're talking about official products. They don't always talk like the best combos, the best decks, but on all these 20th anniversary items, there's all like cards that have seen competitive play. Very cool stuff. Another item that I didn't really plan on getting, but always when I go to events, I like looking at the vendors and see if they have older products, stuff that I don't usually find at like Target or Walmart, and I just couldn't resist, so I got these Gold Series 3. This is one of my favorite Gold Series. Like, I think the first Gold Series is like my favorite. I'm gonna do a cool video where we open a couple of these and talk about what happened to Gold Series. Gold Series haven't been around for a couple years. The last one we had was in 2016 with Beatrice and Cosmos and all those things. Whatever happened to that? Did Konami replace it? Why? I mean, why did people like it? Why did people dislike it? There's been a lot of changes to Gold Series from way back in the day. I think the first one came out in 2009, I believe. Maybe it was 2010. I'm pretty sure it's 2009 though. So what changed from then all the way through now, or all the way through 2016? There were a lot of different rarity differences and all sorts of like Konami's policy and what they added in the set, and if there were commons or all gold rares or gold ghost rares, all sorts of crazy changes, and I want to talk about that in that video and also open just a couple Gold Series 3 packs. Anyway, though, let's talk about the actual YCS. So, for those of you that don't know, this actually was announced sort of surprisingly. I believe it was at YCS Niagara Falls. It might have been Pasadena, but basically they just got on the mic and announced a couple different YCSs, and one of the ones that they announced was Atlanta. And this is to be expected. Atlanta is a really popular location for YCSs that happens like every single year, but then right before they turn off the microphone, they said, oh, by the way, it's a 3v3 team YCS, the first ever of its kind, and then they just kind of dropped the mic and then let us to figure it out, and it was really cool. People were like, whoa, a 3v3, that's like really unique, and we don't really see that. We see side events with that, but never like a full-fledged YCS. And 3v3 events in the OCG are super popular. Like, we see them all the time, but in the TCG, outside of that one side event on Sunday, you don't really see anything like that. So this was like a big deal. A lot of people were excited, including myself. I instantly like booked my tickets. It was really cool. I didn't know what to expect, but I was looking forward to it nevertheless. And then as they got closer, they revealed some of the interesting prizes. And I think for me personally, one of the best decisions that they made was the entry mats. Now, the entry mats were based on the Sacred Beast, and I know why nobody plays Sacred Beast, but for those of you that don't know, I actually like the Sacred Beasts a lot. I think I even opened up the Why Nobody Plays Sacred Beast video by saying that I like them a lot. I've played Hammond and Crystal Beasts, I play Uriah and Trap Monsters, and overall, it was just really cool. So if you don't know, basically you entered with a team. You didn't necessarily have to have 3 people when you showed up. They could find players that you could go with if you wanted. If you didn't have a full team, even if you were alone, you could just get sort of paired with random people, and you got one mat of each Sacred Beast. You got a Hammond mat and Raviel mat, and then a Uriah mat, and it was really cool. I kept my Uriah mat. You'll see that in my deck profile, but also I got this, I couldn't resist, right? So I got these cool OCG sleeves. This wasn't something that the Konami gave us or whatever. This was just from a vendor. These are holographic, kind of hard to show on camera, just like the 20th anniversary stuff. But these were Uriah sleeves. They're OCG sleeves for the Japanese, and there's 100 of them in there. I couldn't resist getting those. They were really cool. I saw them at the vendor, like, as I was leaving. I was like, you know what? I've been using this Uriah mat all weekend. Maybe I should get these sleeves to match the mat. And I think that those sort of entry mats really solidified the 3v3 sort of YCS as its own entity, because in the past, we've had promotional mats. It's very common. The 200th YCS had an awesome mat with gold sarcophagus and all the past YCSs on the sides. That's really cool, but as a 3v3 YCS, the cool thing that they did is they gave one of the Sacred Beast monsters to each teammate. So the mats were separate, but when you place them all in a row, it looked really cool. It looked like you were sort of an actual team, and that's awesome. I think that was an excellent start to the weekend and sort of showed that Konami acknowledged not only that this was a YCS and a special YCS, but a 3v3 team YCS. Now, as far as playing a 3v3, this isn't anything like, I don't know, like tag dueling or anything like that. Basically, you and your teammates each individually play your opponents, the 3 other people. You individually play your 3 matches, and then whoever wins, whichever team wins 2 of the 3 matches, they win the overall match for the team. So it's sort of like a match within a match, and that's really exciting. So you still play best 2 out of 3 against your opponent. It's just you, but you can also talk to your teammates. So, for example, I was the B player, so I could talk to the A player, I could talk to the C player, and also they could talk to me. And it was really cool because sometimes I missed something, sometimes I missed a player, sometimes they missed a play, and we could give each other advice. And that's what's so cool about it, because you're playing with your friends and they're giving you tips throughout like the tournament, where at a normal tournament, like when you're playing and your friends see you like mess up something, they can't say anything. They can't say, hey, maybe you should do this play, because they can't, I mean, they're just a spectator. They can't actually just tell you how to play the game. But in the 3v3, that's how it was set up. You wanted to play with people that you knew, obviously, and if you couldn't do that, then that definitely made it a little bit worse, but I'm sure you were friends by the end of the weekend unless you went really bad. But overall, I thought it'd be most fun to play with my best friends out there, people that I've been hanging out with for like 5 years now, and then we could sort of talk to each other and give each other advice during the match, and it was very exciting doing that. It added a whole new element to the match. And then also, like I talked about, it's very intense. It's really cool having this pressure on you that, okay, maybe if I go to a tournament by myself and I'm not doing so well, I can just like get salty and like leave the match and maybe I drop for the day. But because you have your teammates sort of carrying you and you're carrying them, it's a situation where you want to play to the best of your ability, just so that your teammates don't say like, oh, he's the weakest link, or oh, he misplayed hard and we shouldn't have picked him as a teammate. It was really encouraging to sort of be forced to play at my highest potential, just because I didn't want to let my teammates and my friends down. But more so than that, from a competitive standpoint, this may have been like the most consistent like YCS of all time, and you can just look at the top 16 to know this, because here's the thing: whenever you play a match of Yu-Gi-Oh, the better player doesn't necessarily always win. I know some people might think, well, of course the better player always wins, but Yu-Gi-Oh is a lot more than just who's the better player. Sometimes your opponent draws better than you, sometimes their matchup is just way more favored, sometimes you just brick. So better players can lose to worse players. It happens, and it's perfectly normal. That's just how card games work. No card game should be 100% the better player wins every single time. That happened with like Versus system, and that card game kind of crashed because only the same people were topping every event. This is also why I don't think that there'll be another team YCS until maybe next year. I don't think it'll be like every YCS will be a team YCS, but the cool thing just for this one time is that because you have other matches next to you, hopefully your teammates are players of the same caliber as you. It meant that the better players suddenly could reduce a lot of the variance to their top cut finishes. And what I mean by that is that maybe they'll brick, right? I mean, that's possible. Maybe their opponent sort of sacks and maybe it's a good matchup, but the chances of your teammates also bricking and also getting sacked is pretty low. So what happened at this YCS, and maybe this is good, maybe this is bad, but what happened is that the most competitive players, the best players in the room, were the ones to top. You didn't have as many upsets. Now, to some people, that's good. Like, to me personally, I think that's really cool when I can look at the top 16 teams and say, I know, like, I can recognize almost every single name right there. However, to other people, more so the casual players, the people that don't do so well at YCSs, I mean, I don't do that great at YCSs, but overall, the people that want to see those big upsets from lesser skilled players beating better skilled players, those didn't happen as often. Now, it certainly happened. I'm not saying it didn't happen every once in a while, but overall, you saw, because there was reduced variance, because people had more control out of the outcomes of their matches, you saw the better teams almost always winning the matches, which made the top 16 really exciting, because you had some of the best players in Yu-Gi-Oh! In the world all playing against each other in these 3v3 YCS sort of matches that we don't really see very often. So overall, what I'm trying to tell you guys is that I'm really proud of Konami for making a format that is super skill intensive, super intense, super fun, and also, I mean, just think of all the new decision making you have. Like, do you and your friends, play your teammates, play the exact same deck? Do you sort of mix it up? Who do you put in the B spot? Who do you put in the A spot and the C spot? These are all decisions that you have to make when you play on a team, and it makes what's usually just a 1v1 sort of situation into a bigger thing. You're not just playing for yourself, you're playing for your friends, you're playing for your teammates, and then also for the casual players that went there, the players like me that didn't do super well, they gave you a ton of stuff. You got dice for pre-ordering, you got really cool mats, really unique mats that we probably will never see again for going to this event. So even if you didn't do too well, you got a really cool, unique, collectible mat that we won't ever see again. Overall, I'm just very happy with how Konami sort of did this event. I think it was, there were so many things that could make this turn into a train wreck, and yet Konami pulled pulled it off, and for that, I give them kudos. Anyway though, hope you guys enjoyed today's discussion video on YCS Atlanta. A little bit later on this week, I'll have some videos sort of talking about the items that I bought, maybe some pack openings with Gold Series 3, and also, of course, I'll show you my deck profile. If you're going to the ARG Circuit Series in Atlanta next week, or in Chicago next weekend, not Atlanta, in Chicago next weekend, feel free to say hi to me. I'll be there as well. I'll see you later though. Thank you so much for watching. Goodbye.